She said no to motherhood, and the pressure did not stop. We talk about the constant questioning, the cultural expectations, and the quiet confidence it takes to live life on your own terms. If you've ever felt judged for not wanting kids, or tired of justifying your choice, this one's for you.
Hi, I'm Britt.
And I'm Amy, and welcome to the Every Season podcast.
We're here for a fun time, not a long time.
Hopefully we're here for a bit of a long time. Hey Britt,
Hey, Ames.
would you say you need some assistance when it comes to being more aware of your body?
Why, what have you got?
Well, you can download our free 7-step female body awareness kit and see if it helps
Sweet, where?
in the show notes and on our website.
Also, in order for us to be here for a long time,
Please subscribe to our podcast.
So B, what season are you currently in?
I am in a very transitional season at the moment. I have currently quit full-time teaching after 18 years of doing
Wow.
it.
Wow.
And pursuing a career for the NDIS or working with kids with disabilities. So yeah, very transitional. It's probably going to last about a year.
Oh,
Until
really?
I sort of find my feet. But yeah, it's been good. I'm also a wife and a stepmom.
I love that. What just like quickly, what made you make that, like why the decision after 18 years? That's a long time to
Yeah.
then kind of jump into something that's very different.
Yeah. Look, the profession is not what I signed up for. You know, 23 years ago when I joined uni, it was a totally different thing. It used to be more free. It used to be more sort of putting yourself into being a teacher. And now with, what's the word? I can't think of the word now. Everything just has to be the same. Everything has to be regimented. Everything, equal. And it kills the creativity and the love out of it. So for the last few years, it's just been...
So do you get no flexibility or anything? It's all structured or?
Yeah, so it used to be like I'm a very creative person. I love art and music and things like that. And it's gone from that to everybody has to do the same, right? And it's okay if we all do an art activity, but everybody has to be on board and do it. And you don't have people that are very creative, so that's not their comfort zone. So then they don't want to do it, so then nobody can do it. And so that was really tough for me. Like that was really, really tough. But then also the workload is a lot more, the hours are a lot more, like coming home grumpy and exhausted. It just wasn't, feeding me the way I wanted it to feed me, and it wasn't good for my family. So I just had to think of something else.
Yeah, wow, good on you. Because there's no being able to create your own classes or anything like that anymore. Because I know back in the day they used to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, it depends on the school, and I've worked at 3 schools in the last 5 years because of this, trying to find my people, I guess. And I've worked with some amazing educators. But yeah, some of them are not going to jump on board to do maths through art or, teach science through a song. Like, it's just not going to happen. So it has to be the same. And there's a lot of dialogue coming from leadership and coming from the department of, well, if, the sisters in one grade and the brothers in the other grade and they do different things, how do we explain that to parents? And I'm like, well, you explain it that's life. But yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. This is like a topic in itself, to be honest.
Wow,
That's crazy. We'll have to get you back on to talk about that.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
let's go on the topic
definitely.
of what we're talking about today. When did you realise you didn't want to have kids of your own?
Or biological.
Look, I think I've biological. Yes. I think always. I have never ever had the desire. Growing up, my friends and my cousins would all play mums and dads, and I just was not interested. In the schoolyard when they used to play those kind of games, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I never liked playing with dolls. I would never stuff a pillow up my top to pretend to be pregnant. I never did any of those things. And it's just always something that I never sort of gravitated to. In saying that though, I love kids. Like I love kids and I love babies.
You, right? Like, one, you're probably one of the best stepmoms I know out there. You're probably a better mum than most people I know because you go out, you do wonderful things. Like you said, you're an arty kind of person. You go out every weekend, you take them to shows, you take them to the movies, you take them to art centres. Like, you do so much. So, like, I suppose for myself, it's interesting to hear that you've never, ever wanted kids. I actually wasn't aware of that. I thought it was only, like, later on in life you decided that.
No, I think always. I can't remember a time ever having a thought of wanting to get pregnant or having a baby or looking after a baby, and it never ever resonated with me ever. And there was a lot of dialogue with friends, especially in high school, and family that were like, oh, when you meet the right person, you know, it'll change. I met the right person. It didn't, I mean, I met a lot of right people, but it, you know, never changed. So
Was there any reason in particular, like being so young and just not being interested in that? Can you pinpoint like a reason for that, or was it just honestly something that you're like, nah, not for me?
Honestly, can't pinpoint a time, because I've always been around kids. I was 8 years old when my brother was born, and then I've got 2 other brothers after that, so I was always around kids and babies. You know, and I love my brother's kids, I love my cousin's kids, you know. It just wasn't in my makeup, I think, for a really long time.
What's been the biggest pressure you've faced over that choice?
Probably family, culture. I come from a, you know, Indian background, of women, generations of women being told that they need to be a wife and a mother, and, you know, you get married and then you have babies. And so when I was very vocal about it, and I started being very vocal about it in my teens, because my mum and my aunties used to always sort of say, oh, you know, when you have kids, you'll understand. I said, I'm not having kids. I don't want kids. And they're like, oh, you'll feel differently. So it was the pressure of my mum and my aunties and my grandmother was huge. And not so much when I was a teenager, but when I got into my 20s, in my mid-20s, up until, you know, a few years ago, it was a constant question. It was a constant... and it got to the point where it was like anxiety going to family events, because, you know, you'd go to a family event and, you know, someone there would bring up, oh, when is it your turn? Or, you know, what, you know, can't wait, like, wait till you have your own. And, you know, and I just...
Why aren't you having them?
It got to the point I just didn't even answer anymore. Yeah, because I just... I just sort of let them say what they needed to say. And unfortunately, when I met my husband, it only got worse. Like, when I met Mark, I had that really honest conversation with him, and I said, this is how I feel about kids. And he had, you know, he had a son, so he was like, it's not like I'm not going to be unfulfilled or anything. But it got worse from the family point of view. It was like, oh, well, now that you've got a husband, you know, he'll want kids. What about him? Poor Mark. And I still get that to this day. Like, what about Mark? Poor him. What if he wants another one? Like, it's been a lot. Yeah.
How, like, I mean, obviously, you know, as you mentioned, your biggest pressure is being through family, but also aside from that, it's just society in general. Like, how do you handle that? Like,
to be honest, with humour. I tend to deflect it by making a joke about it, and I probably should have a better way, and I should be a little bit more, you know, setting boundaries. But especially with family, I just make jokes about it because it's actually a joke at this point.
Do you still feel that anxiety now, and you've turned it into the humour? Like, would you say that's how you've approached it? Like, the anxiety, you weren't coping with it, and then...
Yeah, like, my brother just had a baby a couple of months ago, and my conversations with my husband is, oh, how many people are going to mention it now that, you know, the baby's here? And when is it your turn? And, oh, look how sweet he's beautiful. Like, and that's not, you know... I don't feel,
You're not taken away from that.
Aching in my uterus or anything.
Oh my God.
I always tell people, I think the big thing is, just recently at my new job, I told everybody, because they said, oh, when you have kids, I said, oh, actually, I'm not having kids. And they just sort of look at you. They give you this look like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, and then I sort of have to make a joke. I'm like, no, there's a no vacancy sign on my uterus. That's to say.
That was my next question. What's the joke? Like, how do you address it as humour?
That's a huge no vacancy sign just flashing over my uterus. Thank you.
If you could change like the mindset of your family, your friends, and what have you, like what? I guess what I'm trying to say is like, what would you wish people better understood about someone's choice of not having children?
Yeah. I think society, and I'm not saying everyone feels this way, but I think society thinks a woman needs to be married and have children in order to be happy. And I want people to know that you can feel fulfilled in whatever path that you take. Like, you don't need to have kids to be happy. You don't need to be married. I mean, I only got married because I found someone that I wanted to get married to. Before that, it was never on my list of things to do. Like, I was really fulfilled by traveling the world. I was really fulfilled by finding a job that, I did love for so many years. I was fulfilled by being able to buy my own house by myself. I was able to be fulfilled by having a cat, like, fulfillment doesn't mean
Being the cat lady,
being a wife and having babies. Yeah, I was so content with being a cat lady because it meant I got to travel all the time. So I wear that loud and proud, really.
Did you, throughout, because I'm second to that girl, like, big time. How did you have anyone or like any female to look up to in going through all this? Because as you said, like, you're still getting questions, going to this new job. People are still surprised. So like, I'm just intrigued to see like how, like, did you do a lot of work on yourself? Were you finding fulfillment in all those things that you just didn't give two hoots about what anyone else thought? Like, because like, kudos to you, girl. That's like, it's a lot to go through.
Didn't have anyone to look up to because in my family and my culture, if you're someone that isn't married and doesn't have children, you're kind of seen as the spinster and like the odd one out, and oh, poor her, and like how pathetic. And so that was the narrative that I heard. And I don't think they meant it in any ill will, like, in any way. But that was the dialogue around it, family-wise. I guess growing up, I just had to deal with it because what was the other option? Have a baby? Like, and
for the sake of
having a baby to please everyone else or to fit into everyone else's box, it didn't sit right with me. So I just sort of went, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And... who cares what people say? And I mean, I'm human, so it still affected me, but I just had to have that mindset because I either have that mindset and have to constantly fight and have those conversations with people, or I have a baby. And that's not fair on me, but that's not fair on that child as well. So, yeah.
100%.
Well, yeah, like I remember having the conversation with Ames a little while ago. Like, people that that choose not to have kids because they feel like it's not the right path that they want to take is actually a selfless act, because because once you have a child, you've got to put all your energy and effort, as you already know, being a stepmom, into that kid. So like, if you're going to have a child and you actually don't want one, then I think it's selfish, because then you're not going to put so much effort into that kid and what's needed. So if you and again, like you said, the way society has painted a picture of what a perfect woman is, like, getting married, having a baby, looking after the baby. But like, if you're going to not have a child because you feel like that's not the right path, like, I think, like, all hats off to you, because like, it's a decision you've made for yourself. And like, to have that good, like, strong mindset that you do, because I know the family culture, right, personally, so not so much for myself, but like what you get surrounded by, and it's not easy, like, dealing with it. So you have a very strong mindset.
And I think exactly what you said is right. And the way I see it as an educator, like as a teacher as well, it's so unfair on that child, like, to be brought into the world with so much angst, and you don't know what I don't know what the repercussions would be to to raise a child that I didn't want. You know, like that's huge. And I think it's really unfair on that child, like all those unborn children.
100% B, and I think like with that, I mean, this is probably controversial, but like I'm sure there's plenty of children out there who have obviously been born, and you know, it's from an act that what is from a pressure of society issue or any you know other issue. So I think, like, second what Britt said, like I know you're downplaying it a bit, but like, you know, it takes a very strong mind to be able to stick to your guns, you know, no matter what it is that you want to do, whether or not you want to have children or you don't want to have children, that is you. But I think the conversation is coming from the added pressure from everything, and it's constant. It actually, even though you've set the boundaries, you've made it very clear, it still comes. Like, what?
It's crazy.
You know?
Yes, it does. Yeah, and I think that's what I was like, society, there's so much pressure from society, from what women should be, and not just my culture, but so many cultures around the world that have that pressure that a woman needs to be X, Y, and Z, that it's hard to fight against it. And it's hard to find those people that do, a fight against it's probably not the right word, but just to put those boundaries up, because you're fighting generational ideas, you're fighting societal ideas, you're fighting cultural ideas. It's a lot. Yeah.
100%.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but don't forget about us. Please subscribe.
Okay, back to the episode.
What advice would you give someone that's currently like facing that pressure at the moment?
I think now we're in a really great time in the world where we have access to internet and Facebook and TikTok. I mean, I found some amazing women on TikTok that are childless. And so then you do have, like, I mean, I wish I had those people 10 years ago. You know, I wish I had access to those kind of people online that sort of reaffirm how I feel and reaffirm what my choices are. So I think if you're in that situation, find people, you know, find your people that really affirm how you feel, because there are people out there, and that's whatever choice you make, you know. There's mothers groups out there for mothers. There are groups out there for people who are choosing different paths. There is a group for us. I think there needs to be more, and I wonder if there's, you know, I think we're in a really great time in our world where we can access those sort of that information and get that help and get that support online, because you might not find it in your inner circle. You might not find it. You know, within your family, you might not find it within your friends. So you have to sort of reach out and look in the nooks and crannies and find those people. I think you just have to be true to yourself and really think about what you want.
Yeah, definitely make such a good point. And I think, I mean, it could open up another can of worms, but, you know, again, surrounding yourself with people who are going through a similar situation can really help too. You know, like I've got a couple of girlfriends who are in that boat who are a little bit older, you know, and some are in relationships and in marriages as well, and constantly pushing. And I know that, you know, they surround themselves with, you know, females who might be a little bit, you know, younger or more career driven or whatsoever, but they've found their right people. So, you know, they've been lucky enough that their family, they know the boundaries, they've set the boundaries, and that's it. But it's taken them a very long time, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And you have to find your people. Like, I mean, I love kids, and there are people that don't like kids, and that's why they don't want kids, if that makes sense. So that's also another layer to it, because I love children. Like, I love working with kids, and I love my family and all the kids that are in the family, and I'm sure, you know, Brittany can attest to that. So I don't want to be like children are awful, because they're not, and I have a stepson who I adore.
No.
Yeah, you have to find your people. And if you don't, that's okay. Just make sure you have conviction in how you feel about yourself.
It's so, yeah. I mean, it's like in anything in life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just, I guess this particular topic is something that, it's just, it's a very,
hard one.
it is a hard one, because like it, you know, you've then got people who can't have children. Do you know what I mean? And then, like, you know, like years and years and years ago, I mean, our bodies as females are made, essentially, like they say, to birth children, you know. So you've got, like, there's just so much. But I think you're so right. Like, we are in this day and age now where no matter who you are or what you do, you spend the time figuring out what it is that you want in your life and how you can be the best individual for your family, for your friends, for the world. And however that is, cool, people accept it, move on, you know? Like,
and it's hard because like, you know, setting your boundaries right. So like your friend Aim, she's been able to set her boundaries with her family that you were talking about, and then like find her network. And it's hard for you, B, because like, I know you're strong-willed and you'll set those boundaries. Doesn't mean like you've constantly still been asked those questions, and it's hard because you're doing the hard work. You're setting it up and you still get it. Yeah. So like Amy said before, you're still getting it even though you set those boundaries. It was just crazy. Like, I feel for you in that sense because you know what you want in here, but you still get asked it every single day, and that must just be exhausting.
It's really exhausting. It gets to a point where I don't want to go to things. Like, I get that. That's sort of sometimes how I feel. Like, oh, do I have to go? And the pity party is the other one that I can't handle. Like I get a lot of, oh, it'll be you one day. No, I don't want it to be. Like, that pity party is just that. It makes me angry more than anything. The pity party.
Do you think it's making me angry? Because, like, I'm just putting it out there, but like, do you think it's because people that, like, obviously your community, think that you've chosen not to have kids, but really you actually want them, but you can't have them? Do you reckon that's why they throw those pity comments out there?
Yeah, 110%. I think I honestly believe, especially like my mum and some of my aunties, believe that when I found the right man, that would change. They honestly believed it. And I think when I found Mark and, you know, I said to them, you know, Mark doesn't want kids either. Like, he's happy, you know, in where he is in his life. That's not something, he knows where I stand. They were a bit taken aback because they thought when I found the right man, I would change my mind. And it would, like, I want to have babies with you. And not in any sense, like, no way do I want to. It doesn't cross my mind. And so I think now the narrative has changed to poor Mark. Like, Mark met my nephew a few weeks ago, and, you know, he gave him a cuddle and whatever. Yeah. And so he met my nephew and he gave him a bit of a cuddle or whatever, and then everybody in the room, well, not everybody, but that certain generation were very much like, oh, look how sweet he is with the baby, and don't you want one? And Mark, don't you want one? And just, it's not fair that he doesn't get to have a baby.
Sorry, I was just thinking, it must be because that's how they've been brought up. That's how their mindset, like, they haven't been able to have any other kind of mindset. And then that's how they think that you should see it, instead of actually looking in your eyes and looking 100%. How you envision your future. Do you know what I mean?
And 100%. And I think there is, and I sometimes, just for my own mental health, sometimes sit when we're at a big party like that, and not just my mum and my aunties, but that extended family that I don't really know very well. I sort of sit there and go, did you want children? Like, did you want to have that, or did society put you in that situation, or did your parents put you in that situation, or did you get yourself in that situation and didn't feel like you had an option? And I guarantee you, there can't be that many women in the world that, you know, of that generation and generations before us.
No way.
That just, you know,
but
someone out there must have the same mindset.
But, and that's the kudos to you. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, it's like, you've decided, you know what you want. You've decided what you've wanted. And you've gone ahead and lived the life that you wanted to do. Kudos to you. Do you know? Like, and that's the conversations that need to be said, you know, because, like, I know I've had people in my life over the years, because I've put career first, that, like, they get surprised when I go, oh yeah, like, I'd like to have children one day. They're like, oh really? I didn't think that. It's like, well, why not? Well, because you're very career driven. Like, are you serious? You know, like, it's just,
Yeah.
I
Why
think
can't
like
you have both?
it is a generation. Well, and that's the thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, and who knows? I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I think like it just, I don't know. I think these conversations, like, we've come so far, and yes, it's generational, but there's still such a long way to go. And I think it's, you know, we appreciate you coming on and having this conversation, B, because we know it's, you know, it's something that's very personal. And, you know, I admire people like yourself who, you know, live the life that you want to live, and you go about doing it no matter what the pressure is, whether or not it's coming from family or friends or society. Keep on doing you, B. Like, it's awesome.
Thank you. I'm going to send this podcast to my mum and aunties afterwards.
Hi, Mum. Hi, Auntie.
Well, I was actually going to
Is this
say...
Auntie Deborah?
No, Auntie Deborah's in the Darcy
No,
side.
Karen.
Oh.
No, I was just going to say Ames is the one that normally gets all the goosebumps. But, like, through this whole episode, I think because you're opening up and you're actually saying how it is, like, I'm getting... Like, it's been emotional for me, and just, like, I can feel like... You know, it's just that all that pressure that you've had has just come out, and I just want to say thank you for coming on and sharing with everyone, because hopefully, like, you've been able to help somebody else out there that's actually going through something similar, and then they can actually stick to their guns and set their boundaries as well. So thanks for coming on, B.
Howdy, it's us again. Hope you enjoyed the episode.
Don't forget to download the awareness kit and subscribe to the podcast. Have a fabulous day.